The massive alien ships appeared in the sky one sunny morning in 2089. They hung over major cities like giant floating crystals, shining with strange lights that made people stop and stare in wonder. All across Earth, billions of humans looked up with hope and excitement. After centuries of wondering if we were alone in the universe, the answer had finally come. Dr. Alan Mercer could hardly believe his eyes. As the man who had first decoded the alien message 3 years ago, he now stood in the big United Nations meeting room, his heart beating fast. Next to him, Commander Olivia Wright tried to look calm, but her eyes were wide with the same amazement everyone felt. "This is what we worked for all these years," Alan whispered. Olivia nodded. "Let's hope they're friendly." The alien called itself a Valshari. It stood nearly 7 feet tall with skin that changed colors like oil on water. It had 4 arms and moved with an odd grace that seemed almost too perfect. It spoke through a small silver box that translated its strange sounds into English. "We have watched your people for many years," the alien said to the crowded room. "Your growth in technology is interesting." Something in the way it said interesting made Olivia feel uneasy. She looked at Alan and saw he felt it too. "But," the alien continued, "after studying your world carefully, the Galactic Conclave has decided that humans cannot join our community of planets." The room went completely silent. No one had expected this. "Your kind fights too many wars. You destroy your own planet. Your countries cannot work together properly. But most troubling is something in your basic nature. Your aggressive tendencies make you dangerous to other species in our galaxy." President Diane Powell stepped forward, her face showing both shock and determination. "Ambassador, surely every space-traveling species has had difficult times in their past. We ask for a chance to show you our peaceful side. Our decision cannot be changed," the alien said coldly. "Earth will be quarantined. No human ships may go beyond the edge of your solar system. If you try, we will destroy them. We will watch your development, but do not expect us to return for at least 300 years when humans might have evolved into something more acceptable." Within 5 hours, the alien ships were gone. They left humanity staring at an empty sky, feeling more alone than ever before. In the weeks that followed, the brief unity that had formed when the aliens arrived quickly fell apart. Some countries wanted to build space weapons. Others thought humans should obey the aliens completely, hoping they might change their minds sooner. 3 months after the aliens left, Olivia found Alan in a secret military base under the Rocky Mountains. He was studying the only thing the aliens had left behind, a data package with basic information about other alien civilizations. But it was clearly missing any truly useful details. "They didn't just reject us," Alan said, without looking up from his computer. "They're afraid of us." Olivia frowned. "You think so too?" It wasn't what they said, but how quickly they made their decision. "They've been watching Earth for decades, but only talked to us for less than a day." He showed her his screen with some translated notes. "Look at these biological references. They kept mentioning our aggression matrix as being incompatible with their species." "What does that even mean?" Olivia asked, leaning closer. "I think it means we're different in ways that scare them. Maybe we're more adaptable, more creative, more willing to take risks. Whatever it is, they saw something in humans they considered dangerous." "So what do we do now?" Olivia asked, looking tired and frustrated. "They basically told us we're cosmic prisoners in our own solar system." Alan's face changed, showing a new determination. "For all of human history, we've looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know we're not, but we've been told to stay in our little corner. I can't accept that." "But you heard what they said? The edge of our solar system is basically our prison wall." Alan smiled slightly. "Then I guess we need to get really good at digging tunnels." "What are you suggesting?" Olivia asked, seeing the spark of an idea in his eyes. "The aliens think they know what humans are capable of. They think they can predict what we'll do based on their observations. But there's one thing about humans they clearly don't understand. When someone tells us we can't do something, it just makes us try harder." "That's crazy, Alan. Their technology is far beyond ours. They could wipe us out if they wanted to." "Maybe. But they chose to leave us alone instead." That tells me something important. They want to avoid conflict. They think their quarantine will keep us contained, but what if we could find a way around it? Not by fighting, but by thinking differently than they expect us to? Olivia stared at him. You're serious about this? Completely. The aliens made one critical mistake. They underestimated human determination. They gave us a challenge, whether they meant to or not. 4 months later, in a quiet ceremony attended by representatives from 12 major nations, the Artemis Initiative was officially formed. Its purpose was simple, but ambitious. Humanity would not remain trapped in its cradle. If the front door to the galaxy was closed, they would find another way out. The race to break the quarantine had begun. 15 years had passed since the aliens told Earth to stay in its corner of space. Most people had moved on with their lives, but a special group still looked to the stars, determined to break through the barrier humans were forbidden to cross. The Artemis Initiative was no longer just a small team. It had grown into a big organization with scientists from many countries working together in secret. Their main base was hidden deep underground in Iceland, where the brightest minds on Earth worked day and night. Dr. Karen Ellis pushed her glasses up her nose as she checked the readings on her screen. At 42, she had spent her whole adult life working on what most scientists said was impossible physics. The test ship is ready, said Greg Martinez as he walked into the control room. He used to be one of NASA's best engineers before joining Artemis. Many space programs around the world had been scaled back after the aliens left, as countries signed agreements not to provoke the space visitors. What about our watchers? Karen asked. All in place. If those alien sentinels at the edge of our solar system do anything, we'll know right away. The aliens had left robot ships just past Pluto to make sure humans obeyed their rules. These machines monitored all space activity from Earth. In the early years, several countries had tried to send ships past them, but the alien sentinels had destroyed each one quickly. Artemis had a different plan. They weren't going to fight the sentinels. They were going to slip past them without being seen. Project Director Nathan Caldwell joined them in the control room. His face looked serious. 15 years of work comes down to this moment. Are we ready? Karen nodded. The math works. All our tests show it should work. That's not really what I'm asking, Nathan said with a kind smile. Karen understood what he meant. This wasn't just about science. It was about humanity's future among the stars. Yes, she said firmly, we're ready. Their test vehicle was a small probe about the size of a refrigerator, sitting in orbit around the moon. The regular engines on it were just for show. The important part was hidden inside, the Hawking Drive, named after the famous scientist. This new engine used strange quantum physics that even Karen found hard to explain simply. It didn't move through space like normal rockets. Instead, it folded space around itself, stepping through the fold without disturbing the area around it much. If it worked as planned, the alien sentinels would see nothing. Start the secondary. Power, Greg ordered. Around the room, technicians watched dozens of screens and systems. Everyone was tense and quiet. Quantum matrix is stable, one reported. Entanglement network is responding. Nathan put his hand on Karen's shoulder. You should give the command. This is your work. She took a deep breath and said, Activate Hawking Drive. On the main screen, the probe flickered for a moment, then disappeared. For 3 long seconds, nothing happened. Then a technician shouted, Getting signals, the probe is talking to us, it's beyond Neptune. The room filled with cheers and clapping. Any reaction from the alien sentinels? Nathan asked quickly. None, Greg confirmed, checking the feeds from their watchers. They don't show any signs of noticing anything. Karen leaned back in her chair, tears in her eyes. They had done it, created a way to travel in space that completely bypassed the aliens' blockade. Send it all the way, she said softly. Nathan looked at her with raised eyebrows. We've proven we can slip past the sentinels. Now let's prove we can go beyond the edge of our solar system. Greg nodded and sent the commands. A few minutes later, they got confirmation. The probe had successfully sent data from outside the solar system. It was the first human-made object. to truly reach interstellar space without being detected by the aliens. That night, while the Artemis team celebrated, Nathan found Karen alone in her lab. "Why do you think they're really keeping us locked in our solar system?" he asked. Karen thought about this carefully. "I've studied every bit of information from when the aliens visited. Their technology is obviously far beyond ours, but I think there's something about humans that scares them. Maybe it's how we adapt, how we never give up. We're newcomers who don't follow their established rules. And now we've proven they were right to worry," Nathan said with a slight smile. "Their barrier was supposed to be impossible to cross, yet here we are, just 15 years later, already finding a way around it." Karen smiled. "If they didn't want us to overcome obstacles, they should have picked a different species to isolate." 6 months later, the first human mission using the Hawking drive was ready. The spaceship, named Pathfinder, had a crew of 4, each person chosen for different skills needed for humanity's first secret trip to another star. They were heading to Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to our sun, where unmanned probes had found signs of a small alien outpost. Humanity was about to get some answers, and the galaxy would soon learn that Earth would not be silenced. The spaceship Pathfinder appeared near Proxima Centauri with barely a ripple in space. Captain Frank Donovan checked the screens and allowed himself a small smile. No alarms, no chasing ships. They had arrived without being spotted. "Status report," he said. Dr. Samantha Collins looked up from her science station. "Hawking drive is cooling down as expected. We can jump again in about 2 days." "Life support working fine," added Engineer Paul Jackson. "Power use is within what we predicted." The 4th crew member, Dr. Maya Rodriguez, stayed focused on her special equipment. As the team's expert on alien cultures, her job would become very important once they met non-human beings. "Any sign of the alien outpost?" Frank asked. "Found artificial structures on the 4th moon of the big gas planet," Samantha replied. "It matches what our probes saw. Very little energy being used. Looks like it's just a small monitoring station, not a full base with many aliens." Frank nodded. "That's good for us. Maya, what do you think?" Maya finally looked up. "If it's just a monitoring station, it probably has few crew members, maybe even none if it's automated. We should watch them carefully first. We need to understand their patterns before we try to make contact." The Pathfinder wasn't just humanity's first ship to another star. It represented a big change in how Earth's countries worked together. The ship carried no national flags, only a simple blue circle showing Earth, a symbol of their united purpose. For 7 days they watched the alien outpost, gathering information about how it worked and studying the 2 alien species that ran it. The main species matched the description of the Valshari who had visited Earth. The second type was new to them, shorter beings with greenish-gray skin who seemed to help the taller aliens. On the 8th day, they caught a message that changed everything. "It's a report being sent to somewhere deeper in alien territory," Samantha explained as the team gathered on the bridge. "I've managed to figure out parts of it using the translation system we built from the data they left on Earth." The message revealed that the outpost wasn't just watching Proxima Centauri, it was actively holding back the development of a planet in the system. This planet had intelligent beings who had only reached a level of technology similar to Earth's Middle Ages. The aliens were subtly interfering with their progress, creating problems that would slow down their advancement. "They're deliberately keeping them primitive," Maya said, her voice tight with controlled anger. "The report specifically mentioned stopping them from developing certain metalworking techniques that would help them advance faster." Frank frowned. "Are you saying these aliens actively hold back developing civilizations?" "Not just hold back," Maya replied, reading more of the translation. "They're shaping them. Look, there's talk about genetic modification programs spanning hundreds of years. They're literally changing these beings to fit what the aliens want." This discovery hit them all hard. Earth's rejection wasn't just about humans, it was alien policy to control how intelligent life developed throughout the galaxy. "We need to gather more information," Frank decided. "This changes what we came here to do." Over the next week, they continued monitoring messages while carefully moving closer to the outpost. When a supply ship left, Leaving just 3 aliens at the station, they made their move. Using stealth technology made specially for this mission, Paul and Maya approached in a shuttle, successfully entering the outpost through a maintenance airlock. Their mission: get any information about alien operations and their true policy toward developing civilizations. What they found was more than they expected. The outpost had a complete database of manipulated species, dozens of worlds where the aliens had shaped evolution to match what they wanted. Some changes were subtle, taking thousands of years. Others were more direct, including completely removing species they deemed unsuitable. Earth's evaluation had been among the shortest on record. Something about humans had triggered an almost immediate rejection, with notes specifically highlighting human brain patterns, adaptability, and what they called dangerous innovation tendencies. They're creating a galaxy that looks like them, Maya concluded when they returned to the Pathfinder with the downloaded data. And they've been doing it for at least 50,000 years. The question is, what do we do with this information? Samantha asked. Frank thought carefully before answering. We complete our mission. We've confirmed that the Hawking drive works and gathered critical information. Now we return to Earth. And then? Paul pressed. Frank's expression hardened. Then humanity decides whether we accept the role they've given us, or whether we help build a different kind of galaxy. The Pathfinder left Proxima Centauri 3 days later, again undetected by alien sensors. They carried something revolutionary in their computers, not just information about alien operations, but detailed locations of 27 developing civilizations currently being manipulated by the aliens, civilizations that, like humanity, deserved the right to choose their own path among the stars. 5 years after the Pathfinder came back to Earth, everything had changed. The news about how the aliens controlled other species united humans in a way nothing else ever had. Old enemies became partners with a shared goal. In a secret base under the Atlantic Ocean, director Olivia Wright, now in her 60s but still sharp-minded, spoke to the leaders of what people now called the Terran Alliance. Operation Lighthouse has made contact with 14 of the developing civilizations, she announced. In each case, we followed our rules about not interfering too much while still letting them know they're not alone. The big screen showed images from these worlds, beings of many different shapes and forms who all had the same shock when they learned the truth. They were not alone in the universe, and someone had been secretly changing their development. The Eridani have responded most eagerly to our help, continued Dr. Maya Rodriguez, who now led the contact team. Their technology level is similar to our early 1900s, but their understanding of theoretical physics is amazing. With just a little guidance, they've already started developing their own version of the Hawking drive. And the aliens still don't know what we're doing? Asked President Luis Garcia. Alan Mercer, his hair now white but his eyes still bright, nodded. Our quantum communication network works completely outside their detection abilities. As far as they know, Earth is still safely stuck in our solar system, while these other worlds continue on their carefully managed paths. The plan humans had chosen was both bold and patient. Instead of directly fighting the aliens' much stronger military, humanity chose a sneakier approach, connecting with other manipulated civilizations and quietly helping them achieve technological freedom. The Protean Confederation has finished their first starship, reported Admiral Greg Martinez. They've agreed to join our defense pact. President Garcia nodded, clearly pleased. That makes 6 species in our coalition, with 8 more watching and considering. We're making faster progress than expected. But not all the news was good. 2 months earlier, an alien patrol had detected unusual activity near a Hawking corridor close to the Tau Ceti star. Although they hadn't traced it back to Earth, security measures had been tightened throughout known space. Our timeline may be getting shorter, Olivia acknowledged. Our intelligence suggests the aliens are beginning to notice strange things, in their carefully controlled order. They don't yet understand the source, but they're increasing their watching. Then we move to Phase 3, Alan stated firmly. Phase 3 had been debated extensively, the point where the coalition would reveal itself to the wider galactic community. not just to the alien leadership, but to the hundreds of established species who lived under alien influence, many unaware of the manipulation that had shaped their own evolution. The data packets are ready, Maya confirmed. Once sent, they'll reach about 68% of all known alien worlds at the same time. These packets contained solid proof of the aliens' evolutionary tampering program, including genetic records spanning thousands of years. More importantly, they offered a different vision, a galaxy where species evolved naturally and worked together by choice rather than design. President Garcia looked around the room at the representatives of humanity's finest minds and bravest hearts. The vote before us is whether to proceed with Phase 3, understanding that once we start, there's no going back. The aliens will respond, possibly with force. The vote was unanimous. 3 weeks later, as the data packets were sent across, thousands of light-years through the quantum network, the Coalition's representatives gathered on a neutral world at the edge of alien space. They had chosen this location carefully. An ancient abandoned planet with structures indicating a civilization that had mysteriously disappeared long before the aliens rose to power. Here they waited for the arrival of the alien delegation that had responded to their unexpected broadcast on all official channels. The first ships to arrive were military vessels with weapons clearly powered up. But they did not attack. Following them came a diplomatic ship of impressive size. In a structure built by unknown hands thousands of years ago, representatives of Earth stood alongside delegates from 5 other manipulated species that had achieved space travel with human help. Together they represented the founding members of what they called the Sovereign Alliance. When the Valshari ambassador entered with his group, Alan Mercer stepped forward. The ambassador froze, recognizing the species he had dismissed decades earlier. "Impossible," the ambassador said. "Your containment was complete." "Life finds a way," Alan replied calmly, "especially when that life hasn't been tampered with for 50,000 years. The meeting that followed was tense but controlled. The alien representatives first tried threats, then dismissal, then offers of limited integration. But the Coalition held firm in their main demand, the immediate end of all evolutionary manipulation programs and recognition of rights for all intelligent species. What gave their demands weight wasn't military power. The Coalition was still much weaker than the aliens, but the information they had already released throughout alien space. Reports were coming in of protests and government inquiries on dozens of worlds as populations learned the truth about their own histories. "Your system is already starting to crack," Maya explained to the increasingly frustrated ambassador. "We don't want to destroy the conclave, only to change it. What you ask would end 50,000 years of ordered development," the ambassador argued. "Chaos would spread across the galaxy." "Not chaos," corrected Dr. Karen Ellis, who had developed the latest version of the Hawking drive. "Diversity. Real evolution. The very force that allowed us to bypass your quarantine and connect with others you tried to isolate." The negotiations lasted weeks, with the Coalition's position growing stronger each day as more alien worlds responded to the revelations. Eventually, a framework emerged, not complete victory, but a substantial change to the galactic order. The MIUM conclave would continue as a governing body, but with big reforms. All evolutionary tampering programs would end immediately. Developing civilizations would be contacted openly, rather than manipulated from the shadows. And most importantly, a new council of independent species would be established with the power to veto conclave directives. As the framework was finalized, Olivia found Alan standing alone, looking at the stars through an ancient window made by unknown hands. "Not exactly what we planned when we started this journey," she remarked. Alan smiled. "Slightly. No, it's better. We didn't just find our way past their barriers. We changed how the game is played." "They rejected Earth," Olivia mused. "But in doing so, they created exactly what they feared. A species that would rewrite their rules." Alan finished. Beyond the window, ships from a dozen worlds moved in complex patterns. The beginning of a new galactic community based not on control, but on genuine cooperation between truly free species. Earth had been rejected, contained, and dismissed. But humanity had responded not with force but with cleverness and principle. By reaching out to others who had been similarly manipulated, they had created something the aliens had never expected: a coalition of diverse species united not by biological similarity, but by a shared belief in freedom. The rules had indeed been rewritten, and the galaxy would never be the same.